What a year. MVP type of numbers. 29 home runs and 109 runs driven in. A question, has Matt Williams gained enough experience to play every day? And what a year Rick Russell had, coming close to winning 20 games. Hum Baby looking to put the pieces together for next year.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play ball. Today, the final game of the 88 season, the Giants and the Dodgers.
Center field, look out. There it is. See you later. 1-0 San Francisco.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers, and by Toyota, makers of quality cars and trucks. Who could ask for anything more?
The throw is offline. Gets away. There he goes. They have thrown him out. Throw is over the cutoff man.
Today's game is also brought to you by Chevron and high-octane Chevron Supreme, and by United Airlines, the official airline of the San Francisco Giants. And now, join Steve Physiak, Ron Fairley, and Dwayne Kuiper for all the action. Next, right here on Channel 2.
From Dodger Stadium, it is the final game of the 1988 regular season, and today it'll be the Dodgers taking on the San Francisco Giants. Hello, everybody. I'm Ron Fairley with Dwayne Kuiper. It is a special day, believe it or not, for the San Francisco Giants. Don Robinson, it means something for him and also for the Giants.
Donnie Robinson can do something yet in the ERA race. He can finish much higher in the top 10. Also for the Giants, they can finish either in third place or at worst finish in fifth. But what they have to do is win today, and hopefully everything else will take care of itself.
Good matchup. Tim Leary, a hard-throwing right-hander against Don Robinson. Right now, let's go down on the field. Steve Physiak and Roger Craig.
I'm here with Giants manager Roger Craig. And Roger, what's the one, maybe two things this club needs to retake that National League West?
Win more games. No, we need some more stock. You know, Candy and Aldrete have got to come through a little more productive season to help Will. I think Mitchell has been healthy, can drive in 100 runs. We got a lot of question marks on the pitching staff, but we got a lot of young pitchers coming up. So, but I think Al and I are going to sit down this morning and talk and try to get maybe a long ball hitting outfield like everybody needs. But basically, we don't need a whole lot. We might need one or maybe two key players.
And I guess the other thing is just stay away from the injuries.
Well, you know, we've had more than our share in the last couple of years, and if we can stay away from our injuries next year and Dravecki can come back like I think he can, then we got a real shot at it next year.
All right. Roger Craig will send his team to the field for the final time in 1988 as the Dodgers go against the Giants. We'll come back with the starting lineups and play-by-play action right after this.
Good morning, Miss Bullwinkle.
Good morning, Miss Bullwinkle.
Here's your change, Miss Bullwinkle.
Here's your change, Miss Bullwinkle.
At Chevron, when it comes to service, we do our homework. And while we're the first to admit that not every station is absolutely perfect...
Good morning. Miss, thank you. Here's your Bullwinkle, Miss Change.
We're working on it.
Your change, Miss Bullwinkle.
Chevron. We fuel your freedom.
Toyota Corolla. First time I saw the new one, I said, that's a Corolla?
And why'd you say that?
It doesn't look like a Corolla. It's beautiful. And from where the driver sits, it's even more beautiful.
How so?
Great handling. Multi-valve performance. Sporty interiors. Beautiful. But I still keep thinking, this is a Corolla?
The new dimension. Corolla. Legendary value. Toyota quality.
Who could ask for anything more?
Welcome back to Dodger Stadium, where we're getting ready for the final game of this series. It's also the final game of the 1988 regular National League season. Right now, Orel Hershiser on the field, receiving many, many gifts. It has been named as this being Orel Hershiser Day here in Southern California. And, of course, we're congratulating Orel Hershiser on his accomplishment of breaking Don Drysdale's record. Drysdale going 58 innings of scoreless pitching. Orel Hershiser breaking that the other night in San Diego against the Padres. And the record is now at 59 innings of consecutive innings of scoreless pitching. And so they have had quite a bit of ceremonies here this afternoon prior to the ball game. and truly an accomplishment.
And as Don Drysdale said, that record sat on the shelf for a long time, and it was one of those records that many baseball people felt like it would be a long time, a lot longer than the number of years in between Drysdale and Hershiser for that record to be broken. And Hershiser was interesting. He said that he never thought the record would be touched. Now that he has it, he feels like, yeah, that is a record that will be broken again at some point.
Well, it'll take quite a while. It was 20 years ago, and prior to that, Walter Johnson held it, and that's the record that Don Drysdale broke. As we get ready for this ball game today, it will be Don Robinson going against Tim Leary. As you can see, once again, Orel Hershiser being congratulated by so many of his fans and people throughout the Southern California community. Right now, the PA announcer has asked the fans at Dodger Stadium to come to their feet as we are preparing here, and we will have the playing of our national anthem in just a second. The umpires are holding a meeting at the plate, but right now, our national anthem.
Hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
William Solo singing our national anthem here at Dodger Stadium this afternoon. A very good job. This game being delayed just a little bit. The umpires holding their meeting at the home plate area. Humbaby in the dugout. And right now, Garner and Billy Russell, I believe, is. No, that's not Billy Russell out there exchanging the lineup card. Is that Billy? Yes, it is. The umpire today, Doug Harvey, will be behind the plate. Jim Quick at first base. Greg Bonet at second. And John Kibler umpiring at third. Dodgers have won the first two games of this series. They won the first game by a score of 6-4. And then yesterday afternoon, a 2-1 decision with Valenzuela picking up the save in relief for Los Angeles. First time he's ever done that as you get a look at the National League Western Division champion Dodger dugout. They're getting ready to take on the New York Mets here on Tuesday. And over on the other side, Bobby Lillis checking out the lineup cards as he does every single game to make sure that there are no changes in the lineup. And as we can see right now, it looks like we're going to have a change in some of the lineups, as right now Lillis, maybe there are some last-minute adjustments, and we'll have to wait and see. Dodgers coming out of the dugout. They're getting ready to take the field as Leary jogs out toward the mound. Let's run down the starting lineups for this afternoon's game. For the Giants, Ernest Riles will lead off and play at second base. In center field, Mike Aldrete. Batting third at first base is Will Clark. In the cleanup spot in left field, Kevin Mitchell. Candy Maldonado will be in right field. Bob Melvin doing the catching. Matt Williams at third base. Jose Uribe at shortstop. And on the mound, Don Robinson. Defensively, Franklin Stubbs will be at first base for the Dodgers. Sachs at second. Griffin at shortstop. Hamilton at third base. Danny Heap in left field. John Shelby in center. And in the outfield, I believe that is not Mike Marshall, but that will be Mike Davis in right field, with Socia doing the catching. And on the mound is Tim Leary, a 17-game winner this year, ERA at 2.94. This is his 34th start. His last outing, he lost 8-4 to the San Diego Padres and is 1-1 against the Giants this year. So there you have it. Final game of this season. It is a beautiful day here in Southern California. Had some smog and fog earlier. Right now, it's a great day for baseball. And we're ready to get things underway. And to lead things off, here's Dwayne Kuiper.
Well, thanks, Ron Fairley. As you mentioned, Dodgers taking the first 2 games of this series. On the year, the Giants have won 5 and lost 12 against the Dodgers. They are 2-6 here at Dodger Stadium. And one of the problems, obviously, the Giants have had in 1988 is beating the team that is further on down south in the state of California. See the folks still coming into the ballpark here on Fan Appreciation Day. And before this game is over with, I'm sure that this ballpark will be filled up. Here's Ernest Riles. He will lead it off for the Giants. Riles average at 299, and Leary starts him off with the ball down and in. Riles obviously would like to finish at 300 or above. He will get a shot at it today. And Riles hits this one into center field. Shelby going back, and he puts it away. Out number 1. Mike Aldretti.
Number 25, center fielder.
Aldretti hitting second in center field. Brett Butler still bothered by that knee. I told Butler this morning, if you're going to have a season-ending injury, you better do it in the last 2 games of the year. Then it doesn't seem so bad as Leary misses down 1-0. Butler talked this morning at breakfast about still trying to talk his way into the lineup.
Well, I know he wanted to play.
And Roger Craig obviously feeling that no sense taking a chance with Butler. That's a call strike. 1-1. But the Giants do have something to play for. They can finish in 3rd place. If they do finish in 3rd, it'll be in a tie with the Houston Astros. Astros playing the Padres this afternoon. If the Padres win, they will clinch 3rd place. And right now, San Diego and Houston, no score. They have completed 4. Aldretti hits this one off the fist, and he hits it foul down the left field line. Ron Fairley gave that young man a hard time yesterday. In jest.
Well, you were having fun with the young man. He kicked it. He knew he should have caught that one.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Mike Aldretti. And Aldretti past Leary to Sachs. 2 down. So Tim Leary retiring the first 2 Giants hitters here in the first inning. That'll bring up Will Clark.
Leary moves the ball around well in the strike zone. A little bit quicker than what you realize. That time he just had a little sinking fastball. Aldretti trying to pull it. You do, your chances are you're going to hit an easy ground ball somewhere.
For Will Clark, he leads the National League with 109 RBIs. Also leads the NL in walks with 100. Third with 29 home runs. He has also scored 102 runs, and that also ranks him 3rd in the National League. Here's the 1-0, and that's a call strike.
Now, you have played in a lot of games the last day of a season, have you not?
Yes, I have.
Notice any difference in the strike zone the last day when it didn't mean anything?
The strike zone can get a lot bigger, and I don't think teams care as long as it's for both sides, obviously.
Well, there he is, Doug Harvey. a veteran umpire, an excellent umpire. But I just have a feeling that when you get down to the last day of the year, and when the division and everything has been already established, the strike zone, I always had the opinion that when you walked up to the plate in a game like this, you better get ready to swing. If the catcher catches on the fly, there's a chance the umpire may call it a strike.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Will. Another foul back. The count stays the same. Well, I pretty much had that philosophy every time I went up to the plate.
No, I don't think, I'm not saying that the home plate umpire is going to have a huge strike zone, but I think that may be a little larger.
Larry gets Clark to swing and a miss. First strikeout after 1/2 inning to play. Giants nothing. Dodgers coming to bat.
Please join Safeway and the Second Harvest National Food Bank Network in the fight against hunger. Safeway has started the Change for the Hungry program with a $25,000 contribution. All monies collected will be given to local Second Harvest food banks to provide needy families with fresh fruits, vegetables, eggs, and other nutritious foods not normally available through the Food Bank Network. Just tell your cashier how much of your change you would like to donate, and you will be given a receipt. We thank you.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch Milk Chocolate. That's creamy, blended in crispy, smooth, so dreamy. Gotta have it, it's so scrumptious. Love that chocolate when it crunches. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
Mark and Brian, rockin' LA. It's another hot one out there. 98 sweltering degrees. I know relief inside. It's hot, hot, hot.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Man, sure go for one of these.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by the pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer.
We have a slightly revised forecast. I'll say it's cold. Go, go.
No score in the game as we go to the bottom half of the first inning here in Los Angeles. There's the throw down to second base. Let's quickly run down the Dodger lineup. Leading off for Los Angeles will be Steve Sachs. He'll be at second base. Danny Heap in left field. Franklin Stubbs at first base. In the cleanup spot will be the center fielder John Shelby. Mike Davis in right field. Mike Socia doing the catching. Jeff Hamilton at third base. Alfredo Griffin at shortstop. And Tim Leary batting ninth doing the pitching. Defensively, Clark at first base, Riles at second, Rebe at shortstop, Matt Williams at third, Mitchell, Aldrete, Maldonado in the outfield, and Melvin behind the plate.
Sachs bunting for a base hit, and he bunts it foul. For Donnie Robinson, his 19th start, third against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He is 0-1 this year, 4-6 lifetime. His last outing came on the 27th of September at Candlestick, where he beat Cincinnati 6-3. He went 6 2/3, 8 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and a strikeout. He is 7th in the National League with that fine 2.50 earned run average. Here's the 0-1 to Sachs. That misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sachs went 2 for 2 yesterday with a double, and he fouls this one back. His 57 RBIs this year, that is a career high for him. And over his last 8 games, he's hitting at a 375 click. Here's the 1-2. Sachs, looping line drive over the head of Ernest Riles. So Steve Sachs with a leadoff single here in the first inning for the Dodgers.
Doesn't hit it very hard. This time he gets it off the end of the bat and just loops one in there. You talk about the success of the Dodgers, and they talk about Kurt Gibson quite a bit. I think Steve Sachs has had a lot to say as to where the Dodgers has finished this year.
Yes,
because when he gets on, he scores, and you have guys like Gibson hitting behind him.
He also has 42 stolen bases on the year. And Donnie Robinson is going to check Steve Sachs over at first. For Danny Heap, he started in left field yesterday. He was 0 for 3. He has spent most of the time on the bench as a pinch hitter. That ball misses, 1-0. He has struggled as a pinch hitter. He is only 4 for 44. But as a starter, he is hitting .333. See, Heap has started in 27 games. And he fouls this one back. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, the point that you bring up about not getting a chance to play very much and coming off the bench, when you do get in the ball game, you're accustomed to hitting off of guys that throw batting practice. And the guys that throw batting practice throw the ball, what, 80 miles an hour? Not much more than that, maybe even less. Now all of a sudden when it really counts and you go out there to make your living, you have to hit off somebody that throws maybe 95.
Here's the 1-1. Another foul ball off his fist. And the thing about it, when you do take batting practice, Ron, you don't want a guy to throw 85 or 90 miles an hour, because in all likelihood you're going to walk out of the cage not very happy.
No, you knock the bat out of your hand. You're not really loose just yet. You take batting practice earlier in the day, so you'll want to go in there and get jammed, bruise your hand. So you want somebody to lay it in there so that you can get loose, and so that when you do go out to hit, that you're almost ready.
So on the other hand, it would be good if you saw some pitches that were in the 90s, but you're not going to find too many batting practice pitchers that are going to throw that hard.
If they do, they'd be in uniform pitching somewhere.
The count is 1-2 to Danny Heap. Sacks the base runner over at first. And Heap grounds this one foul. Coming into the game, the Giants second to the San Diego Padres in turning double plays. The Giants have 145. The Padres 146. The Giants led the National League last year. They are in a situation right now where Donnie Robinson looking for that ground ball. Sachs goes, and he fouls it back. Sachs has been caught 11 times this year. But as Ron mentioned, can attribute a lot of the success for the Dodgers by the fact that Steve Sachs gets on base, will move around the base as well, get in scoring position for Gibson and for Mike Marshall.
Well, we have seen several times this year where Sachs will get on via a base on balls. He will steal second, a ground ball to the right side of the diamond. Sachs goes to third, sacrifice fly by somebody, 1 run in, and not even a base hit. The Dodgers pretty good at getting a lot out of nothing.
Sachs does not go, and he lines this one down the right field line, and that will make the seats.
There was a game earlier. In fact, there were a couple of games earlier at Candlestick Park, and maybe some of the fans will recall. In one game in particular, the Giants, or not the Giants, but the Dodgers had 6 infield hits in one game, and twice they had a man score from second. Now, you don't see that very often. The infield base hit and have a guy score all the way around from the second base back.
Sachs goes, pitch out, Melvin to second base. It is in time.
Well, I'm not too sure he was out. I think we saw a little bit of that umpire saying, wait a minute now, close play, last day of the season, we're going to get out of here. Now the pitch out, Melvin running with it just a little bit, but you be the judge. A little bit closer, that angle there, but looked like to me he was safe.
From up here, I thought that he'd beat the play. The replay did show that it was a lot closer. Heap into center field, Aldretti shading his eyes, glasses down, and that's the second out.
We have another look here from the first base side. Well, even you can't tell that well even from there.
A lot of times, Ron, when that guy that is going into second, if he starts that pop-up slide a little sooner than he should, it always looks like he beats the play. Sack started to come up before he had actually reached second base, and sometimes that can be a little bit deceiving from where we're at. Here's Franklin Stubbs. Stubbs with a home run yesterday off of Big Daddy. His number's at 227. And he fouls this one.
To me, Stubbs is a dead fastball hitter. He's a better low fastball hitter than he is with a pitch that is up in the strike zone. He has a great deal of trouble with a breaking ball.
He's also had some problems against the Giants' lifetime. That's a call strike. Now it's 1-2.
And you can get him to chase some bad pitches. In particular, you can have him chase breaking balls in the dirt.
I have a feeling that the Dodgers are going to shop around this offseason for a first baseman. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Jack Clark of the Yankees said he would accept a trade, and he'd be willing to go to a West Coast team.
Well, I said yesterday, I think you'll see Jack Clark either in a Padres or a Dodger uniform. Another foul back, 2-2. Almost get the impression that the National League Western Division is going to be very aggressive when it comes to acquiring players, free agents, trades. Stubbs off his fist in the right field. Maldonado coming in easily, and he puts it away. Well, for the Dodgers, a base hit, a caught stealing, and after one complete, we have no score.
Tires. We know you don't think about them much, but man, what the right set can do for your car. For when baby needs a new set of shoes, BF Goodrich TAs. We make your car perform.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush.
The more you learn about how George Bush got this far, that he was once the youngest combat pilot in the Navy, that he started a business and met a payroll for years before representing us in Congress, the UN, and China, and the more you learn about his years as vice president, the more you realize that perhaps no one in this century is better qualified to be president of the United States.
So help you God, so help me God.
What news have you brought me?
The best news yet. Now we've made arsenic and old lace greater than ever, in color.
That's bully, just bully.
It's the touching story of 2 ladies with an unusual hobby.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Oh, yes, dear. That's what we did with the others.
Join Cary Grant and Peter Lorre for Frank Capra's comedy classic, Arsenic and Old Lace, a special color presentation.
Coming Monday, October 10th to Channel 2.
Top of the second inning, no score. The Dodgers with a base hit. The Giants looking for their first. Tim Leary is on the mound for the Dodgers. And leading off for the Giants here in the second inning will be Kevin Mitchell. Mitchell with 19 home runs. I'm sure he'd like to get to 20. Will Clark with 29. I'm sure that in this last game he'd like to pick up number 30. Like to get to those even numbers. For Mitchell, 80 RBIs, an average at 253. Mitchell at one point a couple of weeks ago had surgery scheduled for his knee, but that was canceled. That pitch down low, 1 ball and no strikes. Roger Craig feeling that they'd have a very good bench if Kevin Mitchell could possibly stick around and help the club win some games in September. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kevin Mitchell basically felt like if I can sit on the bench and help the club, I think I can play in left field and help the club. And Kevin's been back out there. 14 of those 19 home runs for Kevin Mitchell have come against right-handers. And we talked about the month of September for Kevin. This is his 9th start since September 8th. And you can only cancel surgery for so long, Ron. And Doug Harvey stuck up his right hand. Now it's 2-2. Eventually, you're going to have to get it done.
Yeah, he's going to have it done. It's just a question of when. I think the reason that they postponed that is because I think a few weeks ago, take a look at the shin guard that Kevin wears. Giants felt they had a chance to finish in second.
2-2 to Mitchell. Chops this one. Griffin gives some ground at short. His throw is in time, and that's the first out here in inning number 2. In that Houston-San Diego game, the Padres are leading 2-0, and that is after 4.5.
What do you think of the start the Padres got off to this year? What were they, 5-15? Something like that?
You might see Jack McKeon getting more votes than Tommy Lasorda for Manager of the Year in the National League. Although Lasorda has done a great job, Jack McKeon has matched him. Here's Maldonado. 1 ball and no strikes to Candy. Candy's average at 256, 12 home runs, 68 RBIs. And Candy chops this one at home plate.
It's been a very frustrating year for Candy. He did not post the numbers that he thought he was capable of posting. Last year, Candy put up some very good numbers. And hopefully next year he'll be able to repeat what he did last year.
Candy spent the offseason knowing that he would be the cleanup hitter for the Giants in 1988. And that was the case when the club opened right here at Dodger Stadium. And then somewhere in May or June, Candy Maldonado started hitting 5th, and Kevin Mitchell was the cleanup hitter. Candy is 3rd on the club with 68 RBIs. He also has a lot of success against his former teammates. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Maldonado. Candy fouls this one out of play, and I suppose the toughest question for Al Rosen and for Roger Craig, which one is the real Candy Maldonado? The Candy Maldonado from 1986 and 1987, or is it Candy Maldonado of 1988? Full count.
You know, you mentioned something that last half inning. I think that they're going to be, just based upon what you hear around the major league circles, that more and more teams might be a little bit more active in trading players this year. And we might see more player movement.
Candy walks. And I mentioned I thought that the National League West was really going to be active. And the reason I say that is I think there are more teams that are closer to winning the division in the National League than there are in the National League East. I think a player here or a player there could really help any one of the clubs in this division, where it's going to take a few more players for some of the teams in the other division. Here's Bobby Melvin. Melvin getting a start. Maldonado goes. Melvin chops this one at home plate, and it's foul. Roger Craig using the hit and run.
See Candy keeping an eye on Bill Fahey. Generally, that's when the coaches like to put that on. In other words, instead of waiting till you get back to the bag, as soon as the play is over and is dead, you saw Candy, while still at second base, looking at Fahey. Give him the sign right now.
No balls and 1 strike to Bob Melvin. Melvin's average at 232. Maldonado goes again, and Melvin lines it in the left field. That'll be a base hit. Maldonado rounds second. He will go into third, and the Giants have base runners at first and third and one out. Roger Craig using the hit and run back to back. Melvin fouling the first one and then driving the next one in the left field for a base hit.
You see right here in the replay, Melvin just going out there and flicking those wrists over. Candy getting a pretty good jump at first base, picks up the pitch. If he sees where Melvin hit it, there's no question in his mind that he's going to go around the third.
Well, here's the young third baseman for the Giants, Matt Williams. Matt with 8 home runs, 18 RBIs.
This is one area right here where I think the Giants would really like to improve. And that is with a runner at third with 1 or less outs, of getting that guy in from third base with a little bit more regularity. The problem this year, it has not been so much of the number of strikeouts for the Giants as it has been when they occur. And this has been the problem. Strikeouts with a guy at third.
There's also been a problem, this situation, for Matt Williams, as Matt fouls this one down the right field line. And that is out of play. And now there's a nice play by one of the ball guys.
See, he has more range than the kid down the left field line.
He also goes a lot better to his left.
And that's the left-hander down the left field line. See, they put the left-hander in the left field area and the right-hander down. Get out of here.
Somebody's thinking. 0-2 to Matt Williams. Matt now behind in the count with that base runner at third and only 1 out. And that pitch is high. Now it's 1-2. Matt's probably going to get an earful from a lot of people on do this, do that, change this a little bit, change that. And for a youngster, that can be very difficult because they are like sponges, as we mentioned yesterday. It's almost better if you just assign one person to Matt Williams as opposed to having 20 to 30 different opinions.
And the thing that hurts more than anything else is if you get the advice from somebody, one person, and not have it be accurate.
Here's the 1-2. Scioscia with a nice play to keep Maldonado down at third.
Look at that last pitch. Breaking ball way outside. Scioscia, one of the better receivers in all of baseball. And like most of the catchers, they look in the dugout, see if the manager wants to put anything on, pitch out or anything like that. Have the pitcher step off the rubber.
And Matt Williams with a good swing fouls it straight back. Tim Leary having a fine season for the LA Dodgers. Leary has won 6 of his last 8 decisions. And in his last 10 starts, he is 6-3 with 1 no decision. And Matt Williams with a line drive in left field. That'll be a base hit. Maldonado will score. Melvin goes to second base. And the Giants are on the board here in the second inning.
That was really a good at-bat that time for Matt Williams. He stayed in there and finally took the breaking ball and served it right over shortstop. Peronoski, the pitching coach, coming out to talk with Larry. Larry's been struggling just a little bit. He's allowed now 24 earned runs in the last 6 ball games. 7 if you count today. So he has been struggling a little bit. And I'm not too sure about the Dodgers in the playoffs. The Mets appear to be pretty healthy. Get a chance to see it one more time. The breaking ball, he goes down, bends his knees a little bit. Base hit into the outfield. But the one thing about the Dodgers that have been so good about them all year long, and that is the pitching staff. Tudor is hurt. I don't know about Valenzuela. And Leary's struggling.
Right now, the 2 guys that are pitching well are Hershiser and Belcher. And you have to have more than 2 pitchers to go into a series, especially against a team like the New York Mets. Uribe takes a call strike, 0-1. I think you're right. I think the Dodgers are worried.
If Hershiser does not win on Tuesday, it may be a very short series.
Indeed, it could. You see the numbers for Jose Uribe. Melvin in scoring position at second base. And Uribe fouls it back. 0-2. The Dodgers and the New York Mets 1-2 in the National League in pitching. The Mets with a lot better offense. Here's the 0-2, and that pitch misses. Now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You know, we were talking prior to the ball game, and a lot has been said about who's going to be the MVP, and we hear a lot about Kirk Gibson. But we were saying prior to the ball game, you better give some thought to somebody else, because there's more than one guy that would be included in that category.
The one guy that has just snuck up and may win it is Kevin McReynolds. Uribe just gets a piece of it. McReynolds all of a sudden is in the top 10 in almost all of the National League offensive departments. He is 10th in batting average. He is second in RBIs. He is tied with Davis and Van Slyke and Bonilla. Here's the 1-2 and another foul back. He is second in game-winning RBIs with 19. He is fifth in home runs with 27. Might be somebody to consider. Of course, a lot of the votes are going to go towards Kirk Gibson, Darryl Strawberry. One and 2 to Jose Uribe. Bobby Melvin at second base. And Uribe fouls it past Dusty Baker. Tim Leary has thrown a lot of pitches here in the second inning. It all started out with a walk to Candy Maldonado. See a nice play down in the photographer's box down there. Everybody seems to be making those nice plays down the right field line. Struggling down the left field line. Maldonado walked. Melvin and Williams singled. Williams with the RBI. Uribe down the left field line, and that'll go foul. Mitchell started out the inning by grounding out to Alfredo Griffin. There's Matt Williams. He's the base runner at first base. Bob Melvin down at second. There's one out. The Giants are on the board. Uribe 1 and 2. Leary to Uribe, and that pitch misses high and in. Ron Fairley and I talking about Doug Harvey and the strike zone. Tim Leary is not giving Doug Harvey a chance to make any close call pitches at home plate.
No, he's all over the place. Even if you take a look at his last outing, he lost 8-4 to the Padres. He went only 3 2/3 innings. As we said, coming in the ball game, 23 earned runs in the last 6 games.
6 earned runs in that game that Ron was talking about. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Uribe now steps off. Donnie Robinson is on deck. Here's the 2-2 to Jose, and he hits it into center field. Shelby with a beat on it, and that's the second out. So Uribe gave Leary a battle, only to fly out to John Shelby. And that will bring up the Giants pitcher, Donnie Robinson. The two pitchers in today's game, Tim Leary and Donnie Robinson, a couple of fine hitters. Donnie Robinson's track record a lot better than Leary. But Leary this year, all he is hitting is .273 with 9 RBIs and 3 game-winning RBIs. For Robbie, he's got a home run and 4 RBIs. And that pitch misses. 1 ball and no strikes. Donnie Robinson will not get cheated. I don't think you will see him taking a walk. And that's that track record we're talking about. Now the Astros have scored in the 7th inning. It's now San Diego 2 and Houston 1. Now it's 2-0 to Donnie Robinson. Ernest Riles is on deck for the Giants.
I wonder if Lasorda has a pitch limit on Leary today. Yesterday, in that ball game, Jim Belcher started, and Valenzuela came in relief. Belcher going just the 5 innings. And I just wonder if there might be a pitch limit on Leary.
I think we're going to see the entire Dodgers staff this afternoon. Robbie on the 2-0 pitch fouls it at home plate. I think you'll probably see Leary, if he throws well, pitch about 5 innings. And then they'll start bringing those guys in left and right like he's done the entire series.
Yeah, let everybody work 1 inning.
I think we'll also see Tommy start pulling his regulars. And he'll do that once they take their positions defensively, and it'll give the fans a chance to applaud them as they come off the field. He has done that every year that the Dodgers have clinched it early. 2-2 to Donnie Robinson. It just totally fries the guys in the opposing dugout.
It should make them nice and happy.
2-2 to Robbie. Chops it to right field. Sacks on the grass, throws to Stubbs, and that'll do it. But the Giants do come up with a run on a couple of base hits. They strand 2 after 1.5. They lead the Dodgers 1-0.
We carry about 40 different sizes. We carry a full range of shorts. We carry a full range of extra longs. We carry suits and sport coats up to size 54. We carry pants to waist size 50. We carry shirts with a 19 neck. The reason we carry all of these sizes is so that 99.9% of the men who come into the Men's Warehouse will be able to find products in their size.
Read any good beer bottles lately? This one tells you that Miller Genuine Draft is the one beer that's cold filtered, not heat pasteurized. So we haven't changed the rich, smooth taste of real draft beer. And you know what's the best thing about reading this bottle? It leads to a very happy ending.
The 10 o'clock news on Channel 2. If you're that interested, we're that good.
Bottom of the 2nd inning, the Giants leading 1-0. Fans, we'd like to tell you, don't wait until the last minute to become a Giants season ticket holder. Get your name on the Giants 89 season ticket mailing list. Call 415-468-8000 Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and you'll be sent details of the 1989 Giants season tickets. So don't wait. See a young Dodger fan. They're starting them out early here at Dodger Stadium. Going for that ice cream. Well, for the Dodgers, it'll be John Shelby, Mike Davis, and Mike Scioscia.
John Shelby.
Shelby hitting .261, 10 home runs, 64 RBIs. Shelby was in the lineup yesterday till the last minute, and then he was scratched. Donnie Robinson starting his second inning of work, and Shelby lines this one on a play. Fans are cheering for everything today at Dodger Stadium.
Well, it's Fan Appreciation Day here.
Another foul, 0-2.
Ball stuck in the screen.
And the ball boy picks it out of the screen. Here's the 0-2. Ground foul past Manny Mota. He could hit a little bit, couldn't he?
Holy cow, he could come off the bench. He has more pinch hits than anyone in the history of the game. We're talking about Manny Mota down there at first base. 150, I believe it is. Good ball player, nice man.
And I think he would like to manage. Here's the 0-2. Another foul back.
Well, a lot of the coaches go down to winter ball and manage down there and gain experience of handling the players.
I saw in the paper where Bill Russell is going to manage in winter ball this year.
He apparently is the heir apparent here in Los Angeles to Lasorda.
One ball and 2 strikes to Shelby. Now it's 2-2.
See Billy sitting right next to him. The other day, Lasorda, I believe down in San Diego, did not dress up and go into uniform. He was up in the press box, and Billy Russell ran the ball club.
There's a line drive. That'll go foul. We have seen a lot of shots in the dugouts of the Dodgers this year, and it almost seems like Russell is surgically attached to Tommy Lasorda down there.
Yeah. In fact, and I know for a fact I have seen them make up the lineup where Lasorda says make out the lineup, and then let me take a look at it. Now let me say yes or no, and most of the time Lasorda says, okay, that looks good enough to me. Go ahead.
Well, maybe we should vote for Bill Russell for manager of the year instead of Tommy Lasorda. Full count to Shelby. Shelby lines it into right field. That will fall in front of Candy Maldonado.
Looked like this pitch might have been up just a little bit. That was about belt high. And you can see the results of that. Shelby with his first hit of the series.
First hit for the Dodgers. That'll bring up Mike Davis, former A. Davis having a tough season. Hitting 198. Couple of home runs, 17 RBIs. He was signed as a free agent. And Shelby goes, and Davis fouls it back.
You know, we were just talking about Billy Russell helping Lasorda with the lineup and everything. I think that really applies to just about every ball club. You have 1 or 2 coaches that you rely on every day. You say, should we play this guy? What do you think about playing that guy? How about this guy at that position? So I think it's really, it's not just one guy. It's by committee down there.
Well, if I'm a player and I want to get in the lineup, if I know that I can't work Tommy Lasorda, the manager, over, I'd probably work on Billy Russell. Toss over to first. Good look at Donnie Robinson, 9-5. Looking for victory number 10. And Davis pops this one in the left field. It'll be a tough play for Matt Williams or Uribe, and a little drop. Long run for the left fielder's shortstop and third baseman.
That's one of those plays right there. Mike Davis primarily wants to try to pull the ball. They play him that way a little bit, and so a ball hit down the left field line, it's going to be tough to get to it.
Robbie ahead in the count to Davis. No balls and 2 strikes. Shelby with 16 steals on the year. He has been nailed 5 times. He was picked off on Friday night. Shelby goes, and there's a ball hit to Uribe. He cannot make a play on Shelby, but he does throw out Mike Davis at first base.
This telecast is brought to you in part by Chevron.
So that's the first out here in the second inning. The Dodgers with the tying run at second base.
Well, you can see that last pitch just sawing Mike Davis off with that hard slider in on his hands. Look at it one more time.
Now
there goes the end of the bat.
Davis took the end of the bat, or the handle of the bat, all the way down to first base. Looked like a baton on a relay team. Here's Scioscia. Scioscia in the left field. Kevin Mitchell coming in, and he puts it away for the second out. Mike Scioscia flying out to Kevin Mitchell. That will bring up Jeff Hamilton. Hamilton at 238. 6 home runs, 33 RBIs. Hamilton was 1 for 2 yesterday. He is in a slump. He is 3 for his last 28. Dodgers have not scored a lot of runs as of late, nor have the Giants for that matter. As Hamilton fouls it out of play. That is not good news, as Ron Fairley was saying. If Hershiser cannot win that first game for the Dodgers in the playoffs, and if the Dodgers continue to have problems scoring, it could be a short series. On the other hand, I guess you have to say in a 7-game series, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah, you don't have to score a lot of runs.
That pitch misses. Now it's 1-1.
Not when you have 2 teams that can throw as many shutouts. The Dodgers this year have thrown, what, 24 shutouts? The Mets have thrown, what, 22? Something like that?
That's amazing how Bob Ojeda goes down for the Mets, and you don't hear that much about it. That's how good a staff they have. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
The Dodgers have thrown 24 shutouts. The Mets have thrown 22. So obviously it doesn't take many runs to win a ball game for either one of those 2 staffs.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeff Hamilton. John Shelby, the base runner, at second base. There's 2 down. We're in the second inning. Giants leading 1-0. And now the count is 2-2. If you look at club batting, the Mets are second in the National League with a .256 average. The Dodgers 5th with a .249 team batting average. Here's the 2-2. Pops it up, and that should reach the seats, and it will. Robinson in his second inning of work has not struck out any Dodgers. He has not allowed any base on balls. He's allowed a pair of hits, and Shelby one of them at second base. And now he misses to Hamilton, and it's a full count. Alfredo Griffin is on deck. There is a base that Robbie can work with. It is open at first base. Griffin, the on-deck hitter. And that's John Shelby out at second base. Three and 2 the count. And he loses Hamilton. And for Donnie Robinson, his first walk. Now he'll be facing Alfredo Griffin, who is just barely hitting over 200 at 201, a home run, 27 RBIs. Giants outfielders can play a lot closer to home plate with Alfredo Griffin. Griffin does not drive the ball. He will on an occasion. But they have good speed at second base in John Shelby. And that's a call strike to Griffin.
Griffin has hit 1 home run this year, and that was in Montreal, and it won a ball game. Extra innings. But you can just see by the outfield alignment, Maldonado pretty much straight away in right field, but then look where Aldrete and Mitchell are in center and left.
Griffin in the left field. Mitchell will come in, and the side's retired. Dodgers strand a pair with a base hit and a walk here in the 2nd inning. After 2, the Giants leading 1-0.
To keep the nation's business running like clockwork, just one airline offers all-day commuter schedules to Los Angeles, Chicago, and Denver every business day. United, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
Tires. We know you don't think about them much, but man, what the right set can do for your car. For when baby needs a new set of shoes, BF Goodrich TAs, we make your car perform.
Relive the splendor, the power, the passion of Shogun. James Clavell's international bestseller returns to Channel 2. 5 nights of unforgettable drama filmed entirely in Japan. One of the highest-rated miniseries of all time. An epic so powerful it must be seen again. Starring Richard Chamberlain, Toshiro Mifune. A 5-part epic miniseries. Shogun. Monday at 8 on Channel 2.
Top of the 3rd inning, the Giants leading 1-0. Both clubs with a pair of base hits. Tim Leary on the mound for the Dodgers. For the Giants, it'll be the top of the order with Riles, Aldrete, and Clark. And call the action here in innings 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here is Steve Physiak.
All right, Dwayne, again to the top of the order. Ernest Riles, Mike Aldrete, and Will Clark. 3 left-handers against Tim Leary. Riles, the leadoff man in the last 2 games, and he takes low, ball 1. Riles flied out his first time up. Leary was just red hot almost through the month of August and has struggled in the month of September. There's strike 1. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. And I know you and Ron were talking about the fact that he has given up 24 earned runs in his last 6 games, and that is really has to cause them a lot of concern going into the playoffs, because they were thinking, Tommy Lasorda was thinking of starting Hershiser in game 1, then going with John Tudor. He may have to rotate that around because Tudor had that muscle spasm in his hip on game 1 against the Giants on Friday. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Ernest Riles, and he takes up high, evens the count at 2-2.
Or he may have to start thinking about using Belcher a little bit earlier in the rotation than he had in mind. Belcher, as I mentioned with Ron, is just throwing great. He's throwing a lot better than Tim Leary is.
Fouled out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
A little bit surprised that Tommy Lasorda didn't just put Tim Leary on the shelf for this game. Give him another couple of days rest before he has to go out there. But Tommy obviously knows his players a lot better than I do.
Misses high, and the count has gone full. 3 balls and 2 strikes because he has a number of pitchers, particularly, I guess, William Brennan he called up the other day from Albuquerque. He pitched so well in AAA. And Riles hammers it, but foul. It remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. But I guess he never thought that John Tudor was going to pull that muscle on Friday, but he still could have made the decision today with Leary. Perhaps they're decoying the New York Mets. If that's the case, then Tudor pulled off a great act the other day. Line drive caught by Alfredo Griffin. There's one gone in the third.
Accommodations for the Giants arranged through Hilton. For classic American hospitality, call 1-800-HILTONS.
Fan Appreciation Day here at Dodger Stadium, and a look at Alfredo Griffin, the Dodgers shortstop.
Well, you look at Alfredo's gloves. He may have had that glove when I played with him 12 years ago. Thing looks like it's made a few trips over the last 12 years.
Bill Mazeroski played with only one glove his entire career.
Look at that baby. That's taken a few ground balls in its day.
Probably repairs it himself.
Infielders do not like to use gloves that are fairly new.
Aldrete the opposite way, and Danny Heap will get there just in front of the warning track. 2 outs.
You can break in gloves, and you can do it day in and day out, but for some reason it never feels like your old one. And that's why players generally on the infield will always go with Old Faithful, and that looks like Old Faithful for Alfredo Griffin right there.
Shoestring, a little electrical tape in there, but it feels just right. Here's Will Clark, still standing at 29 home runs and 109 RBIs. Now, when you'd get a new glove, how would you break it in?
Well, you just take a lot of ground balls, beat it up with a baseball bat a little bit to make it softer.
Clark fouls it off, 1-1.
Put a lot of oil on it. A lot of different ways of doing it. But I can tell you that I thought so much of my gamer that I never packed it with the rest of the equipment. I made sure that I had it with me all the time. Doesn't mean I took it back to the hotel room.
1-2.
But I just didn't want anybody, wherever it might be, whether it be at the airport or in the truck somewhere, having it disappear. I remember when I took it to winter ball, I always carried it in my briefcase. It was the only thing I had in there.
And Clark swings and misses, striking out. The second strikeout of Clark by Tim Leary in the game, and we head to the bottom of the third. Still Giants leading 1-0.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one. Yeah, if you want a beer whose real draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
This November, 5 insurance propositions will appear on the ballot. All but one are imposters. All but one are bankrolled by insurance companies or lawyers. All but one are cunningly designed to cancel each other out. Don't be fooled. Vote no on these 4, and yes, only on Proposition 103. 103, the only insurance proposition endorsed by Ralph Nader. 103, the only proposition guaranteed to cut everybody's rates.
Relive the splendor, the power, the passion of Shogun. Starring Richard Chamberlain. Monday at 8 on Channel 2.
Giants leading 1-0. And hey, don't miss your chance to spend a week in Arizona wearing a Giants uniform. It's the Giants Fantasy Camp for fans 30 and over. Join former Giants such as Willie Mays and Orlando Cepeda in Arizona April 23rd through the 30th. That's coming, what about 4 months away? Well, at the Giants Fantasy Camp, for a free brochure, just call 415-924-8725 or 1-800-542-6005. Well, I'm not sure what happened to Will Clark, but as he left the field after a strikeout, he also went down to the clubhouse, and Roger Craig has replaced him at first base with Francisco Melendez. So Cisco takes over at first, and the infield will remain the same with Riles at second base, Uribe at short, and Matt Williams at third. And Don Robinson will face the pitcher Tim Leary. And the last time the Giants were in town at Dodger Stadium in a 4-game series, Leary had 2 game-winning RBIs. First when he pitched on Friday, and then as a pinch hitter on Saturday. And here is a fly ball hit to right field. Candy Maldonado has to come in and make the catch. 1 out. And there's Will leaving the dugout.
Yeah, it looks like it's the season for Will Clark. And for Will, he takes an exit, and enter Francisco Melendez.
I was hoping we'd get a chance to see Will a couple more times this year. So Steve Sachs comes up. He singled the right field, was cut down trying to steal second base. Sachs then heap in if anybody gets on Franklin Stubbs. And there's a strike at the knees. 0-1. Chicago now leading Pittsburgh 7-4. That ball game in the 7th inning. Andre Dawson hit his 24th home run. New York beat St. Louis. That's the final score, 7-5. Strawberry hit his 39th home run. Hernandez number 11. Darrell actually hit 38 and 39 in that game, as Darling got his 16th win. And there's a pitch low. Detroit has eliminated the Yankees 4-3 in 11 innings. That's an American League score. Montreal over Philadelphia 3-1. That's a final. Matt Williams, nice play, and on one hop, nice dig by Francisco Melendez. 2 outs.
Like you said, nice play by Matt Williams. He has to make a decision whether he should come hard or wait for this ball, but because the speed of Steve Sachs, he has to make that choice of charging the ball. And also with him charging it, he gets a much easier hop to handle. He gets that real short hop after the big hop, and he makes a nice play.
And there is a strike right down the middle to Danny Heap. 2 outs, nobody on. Giants leading 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning of play. And this has popped up. Matt Williams calling off Jose Uribe, and with Jose backing up, Matt makes the catch and ends the 3rd. We head to the 4th with San Francisco leading Los Angeles 1-0.
In recognition of this year's outstanding defensive play, Allstate presents the Good Hands Award. Giant center fielder Brett Butler has been doing it all year long, and here he risks life and limb to take extra bases away from Gerald Perry of the Atlanta Braves crashing into the center field fence. Brett Butler of the San Francisco Giants. Whatever your insurance needs may be, you're in good hands with Allstate.
Right now, save hundreds on a new Ford Escort, the world's hottest selling car. Get up to $500 cash back on the 88.5 and save almost $1,200 on sporty Escort GT. Up to $500 cash back, or take advantage of low 3.9% financing on the Escort of your choice. Get hot deals on Hot Wheels at your local Ford dealer. Get them while they're hot.
Some athletes would give anything to make the Olympic team, even if it kills them.
What you're doing to yourself is crazy. I can deal with sacrifice.
You're turbocharged. Business is so good, I had to start taking plastic. A girl died. Breakfast of champions.
You hear about the Olympic success stories, but there are some stories that never get told. 21 Jump Street.
Tonight at 7 on Channel 2.
The hits are even for San Francisco and Los Angeles, but Matt Williams with an RBI single in the 2nd inning, driving in Candy Maldonado the difference in the ball game. San Francisco 1, Los Angeles 0. We head to the 4th. It will be Kevin Mitchell, Candy Maldonado, and Bob Melvin to face Tim Leary. Kevin, his first time up, hit a ground ball to the shortstop Alfredo Griffin, who threw him out. And to update you on some scores around the major leagues, San Diego now leading Houston 2-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Atlanta losing to Cincinnati 1-0, a shutout for Keith Brown. And there's a ground ball back to the mound. That's not at all what Kevin Mitchell wanted to do as he carries the bat with him to first base, and there's 1 out here in the 4th. And it's time for our Giants television network trivia question. Who did Billy Pierce beat for his 200th Major League win? The team and the score. Ron Fairley, Dwayne Kuiper will have the answer for you in the 7th, 8th inning. And here's Candy.
Now, after that second inning, Leary settled down. You can see getting ahead of the hitters. This young man's had a fine season. And it all came about, and we've talked about it before, with the development of that split finger. Dodgers a little leery, no pun intended, about the split finger. They think it really causes problems in the shoulders, and I think, without them saying publicly, that they feel one of the reasons why the Giants pitchers have had so many injuries is because of the use of the split finger.
Roger Craig insists that it does not affect the arm, that you throw it like the fastball. Candy going the opposite way. In comes Mike Davis. He's there. He makes the catch. 2 outs. Boy, has it made the difference for Leary. He went 9-0 last year, the 1-2 earned run average in the Mexican League, after finishing up 3-11 last year in the regular season. That Goodyear blimp will be around the ballpark, I guess, next week, 2 weeks.
And that's what a baseball looks like to Wade Boggs and Tony Gwynn.
Bob Melvin in the gap, right field. Davis in to cut it off, ending the inning. So Melvin's been up twice in the ball game and has hit the ball hard twice. But this time Mike Davis takes care of him, and we will head to the bottom of the 4th with the Dodgers still losing to San Francisco 1-0.
At Chevron, we've been taking a long, hard look at ourselves.
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. Come back soon. Come back real soon. Hi. How are you? Hi. How are you?
And while we're the first to admit that not every station is absolutely perfect, we're working on it. Chevron, we fuel your freedom.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Anyone draft anymore? Not a ton.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by heat pasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
The 10 o'clock news on Channel 2. If you're that interested, we're that good.
Giants lead the Dodgers 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th, and a near sellout crowd here on Fan Appreciation Day in Dodger Stadium. Well, for San Francisco fans, not only are the Giants dugout stores your headquarters for Giants team merchandise, but they also carry a variety of league playoff merchandise and NFL team items. Stop by the dugout store near you. There's one at 170 Grand Avenue in San Francisco, Ceremony Center in Daly City, and Valley Fair in San Jose. Franklin Stubbs will lead things off here in the 4th. He'll be followed by the number 4 hitter John Shelby, and then Mike Davis, the right fielder. Robinson has worked well. He's allowed just 2 hits in the game. A leadoff single to open the ball game by Steve Sachs, and the other to lead off the second by John Shelby. Stubbs, the 0 for 1. You saw it fly out in the first, and that to right fielder Candy Maldonado. And here's the first pitch to him by Don Robinson at the knees, but misses. Ball 1.
We talked on Friday night about the marked improvement over last year by the Dodgers. How about a 44-game improvement over last year at this time?
And only 10 teams in the history of baseball have made as great an improvement as that. Over 40 games.
28 games over 500 right now. They were 16 under last year.
Stubbs goes to left field. And, you know, in many ways, it's similar with what Roger Craig and Al Rosen did with this ball club 3 years ago when they lost 100 games. And then they turn around 2 years later and win the National League West. Those guys have certainly done the job, along with Bob Lurie, the owner of this ball club.
Well, what they've done is they've gone out on the road, and they have a great winning percentage. They are 10 games over 500 at home, and they have a record on the road of 49 and 31. And maybe it's the other way around, where you have the greater winning percentage at home with the lesser winning percentage on the road.
Stubbs is behind the count 1-2, and Lasorda, well, he has reason to smile. Things have gone his way this year, but again, the New York Mets in his future, and they'll start the playoffs on Tuesday with Hershiser going against Dwight Gooden. And question marks for games 2 and 3. Not for the Mets, though. Bob Melvin wants to talk to Don Robinson, who evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Franklin Stubbs. Well, Robbie's one of those guys you really like to have on your club. I remember listening to a talk show in Philadelphia, Mike Schmidt talking of his respect for Don Robinson, and then what he did yesterday with Roger Craig was really outstanding. Takes outside 3 and 2 with Rick Russell needing 1 win for number 20. He told Roger Craig that if they needed him, if Russell had the lead in a safe situation, he would be there to help out his buddy. Aldretti shades his eyes for the fly ball from Franklin Stubbs, and there's 1 out here in the 4th. And I know you've used the term consummate veteran. Guys like Krukow and Robinson and Russell certainly fall into that category.
Now, the guy throwing for the Dodgers in their bullpen is Orel Hershiser. He threw yesterday for a while. He's back up there throwing again today.
John Shelby going for the Downs, and he's behind the count, 0-1.
We wondered yesterday if he was just throwing between starts.
Hits it hard down the right field line. This should go for extra bases. Shelby on his way to second. He will hang on there with a double. So Shelby heating up at the right time. He's 2 for 2.
On the breaking ball, Shelby in the right field. Now, Candy Maldonado has to field this ball cleanly in the corner. Otherwise, Shelby's going to end up on third base. And you can see Candy, he digs it out with no problems, hits the cutoff man. And that enabled the Giants to hold Shelby at second base as opposed to having him on third with less than 2 outs.
And they need his strength because this team is really beaten up, and he's not been hitting the ball well lately. Here's a ground ball knocked down by Robinson. Only played first base and gets Mike Davis there, so 2 outs. But John Shelby on the play goes to third.
Well, Robbie's just doing whatever he can. He just puts the glove down there. Hits in the glove, rolls back out, and Robbie with the short toss to first. Donnie doesn't do anything that is real pretty, even when it comes to putting on a uniform. But I'm going to tell you something, he gets the job done.
He really does. I mean, he just is spit and vinegar. Strike 1, the count to Mike Scioscia.
Donnie Robinson is not one of those guys that when he puts his uniform on, will he look for a full-length mirror in the clubhouse to make sure that everything just looks absolutely perfect. He's not like that. I mean, there are some guys that's real important. For Robbie, it doesn't matter. Give me a uniform. If it's a little bit too big, that's fine. Just let me play a little bit.
Scioscia pops it up. There will be a play for Matt Williams. And that does it for Don Robinson. Dodgers waste the 1-out double by John Shelby. And as we head to the 5th, Don Robinson in San Francisco enjoying a 1-0 advantage.
accidents will happen. But when they do, make sure they happen on DuPont Certified Stainmaster Carpet. It not only cleans up like new, it's on sale at standard brands. Save $2 a yard on rich-looking Berber, only $14.99. Save $3 a yard on our best trackless Saxony. And get free installation when you buy sculptured Saxony. And no interest or payments until January '89. The great Stainmaster Carpet Sale, only at standard brands.
Market Brian, rockin' LA. It's another hot one out there. 98 sweltering degrees and no relief in sight. It's hot, hot, hot.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Man, I could sure go for one of these.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth draft taste hasn't been changed by depasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
We have a slightly revised forecast. It's cold. Go.
More small businesses start up in California than anywhere else. The smart ones will choose business phone systems flexible enough to grow with them.
Oh, one last thing. Have you thought about a phone system?
Not yet.
Call Pacific Bell.
But how can I know what I'll need?
Don't worry. You can start small and add lines as you need them. And it's in their office, so you don't have to buy all that expensive hardware.
Good.
For phone systems designed to help a small business succeed, your best call is to call on us. Pacific Bell.
Top of the fifth inning we go. San Francisco 1, Dodgers nothing. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Francisco Giants and is solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the San Francisco Giants is prohibited. Which basically means don't tape it, you can't use it, it's ours, all ours.
We asked Steve Physiak to do that by memory, and I think he did a fine job.
Oh, man. Without teleprompter, huh? Impossible. Matt Williams to lead things off. Jose Uribe will bat second, and then the pitcher spot Don Robinson. If anybody gets out, back to the top of the order, and Ernest Riles. First pitch by Leary is inside, missing ball one.
Now Matt Williams with a base hit and an RBI. If Matt could have a nice ball game, it would be something for him to build on in the offseason.
And there it is. He's 2 for 2, going the opposite field. His first time up, he picked on a breaking pitch low and hammered it to left field to drive in the first run, the only run of the game. And now he goes the opposite way and again on a breaking pitch.
Almost looks like Matt Williams now has decided to look for that breaking ball as opposed to sitting on that fastball. Both his base hits have come on pretty good breaking balls. The first base hit was a breaking ball down in the strike zone. This one a little bit more up, but Matt swinging at those pitches like he knew they were coming. Two to 1 San Diego over Houston. Top of the ninth.
Here it's 1-0 San Francisco with Matt Williams at first base, nobody out, and Uribe the batter, and he swings away, hits a ground ball. Steve Sachs chance for two. They got one. Not Jose Uribe, too quick down the line.
Uribe runs well. He gets out of the box okay. You're going to see Matt Williams go into second base hard. What he does is he tries to reach second base with his hands, and when you do that, the umpire cannot call you out for interference. If he would have just kept on sliding without making any attempt whatsoever to touch second base, then they could call him out. And Uribe at first base.
A lot like the situation with Oral Hershiser in San Francisco that kept alive that streak that went to 59 consecutive innings without allowing a run. On that occasion, Brett Butler went out of the baseline. Was called out of the baseline, I should say. Don Robinson takes it on the outside corner for strike one.
This is what we're talking about. Watch Matt Williams. He's going to go out of the baseline, but then he goes over to reach second base.
Tell you, Alfredo Griffin did a nice job of getting that baseball as quickly as he could to Franklin Stubbs. And now Don Robinson calls time, and look at Tim Leary looking over it. Where's that shadow coming from? Well, that's the Goodyear blimp.
What happens when you see a guy like Matt Williams do that is it makes it a lot easier for everyone. The umpire, he can make an easy call. There isn't any questions asked. The guy tried to get to second base.
Uribe's going, and there's a shot down the line by Don Robinson. He's in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes.
And anytime you can make it easier for the umpire by doing what you're supposed to do, they're certainly going to appreciate it.
Jose had a good jump away from first base.
See the lead by Uribe. Right now, that would be an average lead.
He's not going, and the pitch is inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Good shot at first base umpire Jim Quick. Robbie checking his swing. There's Jim. Jim Quick, fine umpire in the National League.
San Francisco holding on to a 1-0 lead here at Dodger Stadium. Bill Fahey with the signs over at third base. The count is 1 ball, 2 strikes to Don Robinson, with Jose Uribe sneaking away from first base. Infield in, looking for the double play. Williams led off with a base hit. Uribe then reached on a fielder's choice, 4-6. And they play Robinson to pull. He has good power with 1 home run this year. Jose's going, and a swing and a miss, and the throw to second base is not in time. Uribe steals second base, but Robinson is cut down. And for Leary, that is his 3rd strikeout in the game.
See Jose, pretty good jump. He is stealing all the way, and Scioscia's throw over to the third base side to second base. That enables Uribe to slide in under the tag. If Scioscia makes a good throw, it's going to be a lot closer than it is. But Uribe, 14th stolen base.
Second base.
And that takes us to Ernest Riles with a man in scoring position. And Ernest swings and fouls it back. 0-1. Giants scored the run in the second inning when Candy Maldonado walked. Bob Melvin singled sharply to left field on the hit and run, and Candy taking third base, and then Matt Williams stroked one into left for a base hit.
That was Ricky Horton you saw in the Dodger bullpen warming up. He's a left-hander.
Again, foul back to the screen. It's 0-2. And Horton is the young man that Lasorda is thinking of making a decision on with Fernando Valenzuela. And talking to the Giants, boy, they really didn't think Fernando had much on his pitches yesterday, despite knocking down San Francisco.
Well, if you looked at the box score, it looked like Valenzuela was pretty impressive. As he did give up a run, it was unearned. But talking to the Giants hitters, you're right. They didn't feel like Fernando didn't have any fastball at all, and that's something that we talked about when he pitched yesterday. Of course, he still throws the screwball, and it's a good one. But he really has to rely on his control and those off-speed pitches.
Uribe with the lead at second base. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Riles, and he takes it inside. Evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, I know the playoffs are here, but Valenzuela is such a great property for the future. Why wouldn't they just shut him down if they knew he was having problems?
Well, I think because of his savvy and because of his experience in postseason play. If I'm Tommy Lasorda, I am going to take him over Ricky Horton, even though Ricky Horton is throwing better.
Here's the 2-2, and again it's inside. And going from no balls and 2 strikes, Leary has worked the count full on Ernest Riles. 2 outs. Uribe in scoring position at second base. 1-0 ball game. San Francisco leading.
For a couple of reasons, Ricky Horton is not a starter. He's a reliever. You don't know what is happening with John Tudor. At least we don't. The Dodgers certainly might. And I think that you have to take a guy who is capable of starting, and that's what Valenzuela has done over his entire career.
Leary misses inside, and he has lost Ernest Riles. So runners on first and second for Mike Aldretti. Second walk in the game allowed by Leary.
Bottom of the 9th inning, the Padres now lead the Astros 5-1.
And here's Aldo for 2 in the ball game. Grounded out in the first. Sent a fly ball to left fielder Danny Heap in the third. Here's the pitch to Mike. Misses inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
And a little bit more about Valenzuela. I think, Steve, that because he is a veteran pitcher, he would go in the bullpen and pitch in relief if Lasorda asked him to. And he may be able to get out of Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, in a situation where they need to get that 1 out when it's a left-handed hitter and you want to bring in a left-handed pitcher. And I don't think he has to really be throwing at his best to be able to get those type of guys out, just because of his knowledge on how to pitch those players like Strawberry and Hernandez.
Here it's 1-0. The count 2-0 to Mike Aldretti. Takes outside. Ball 3. 3-0. Leary has really been in trouble in the 5th inning. Runners in first and second. He had Ernest Riles 0-2 and then walked him, and now has the count 3-0 to Mike Aldretti. And let's see if Roger Craig gives him the green light. It misses. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. 2 walks in the inning, 3 in the game for Leary, and this is not the way he wants to go to the playoffs. And here comes Ron Baranowski to talk to him about it. You take a look at the last few outings that he has had. He only went 3 2/3 against San Diego, allowed 7 runs, 6 were earned. Then in San Diego appearance before that, just 5 days earlier, allowed 4 runs. Prior to that, just went 5 innings against Cincinnati, gave up 3 runs. 5 innings in Atlanta, gave up 4 runs. I mean, that's not strong pitching at all. Going down the stretch, trying to get ready for the New York Mets.
See Tommy scratching his head. Talking to Joe Ferguson, one of the Dodger coaches. Spent some years here catching for the LA Dodgers.
Here's Francisco Melendez, good hitter, takes a strike right down the middle. The other thing about Leary, last time he faced the Mets was on September 2nd and was blasted 8-0. Gave up 6 runs in just 6 innings. And this was a guy who may have been the hottest pitcher in baseball in the months of May and June. Not right now. Here's the 0-1 to Francisco, way inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the difference appears to be, Kipe, his control. He has walked only 53 in the last 223 innings, but he's walked a number in his last 6 starts.
Well, what I remember about Leary the last time the Giants were in town was he was almost unhittable. Outstanding fastball, split finger, dropping out of the strike zone. And he might just be a little bit arm weary after pitching a long season.
This is his 35th start, and he has never done that in his career. He's a big, strong guy, going 6'3", 210 pounds. 29 years old. He was the first-round draft choice of the New York Mets back in 1979. Bases loaded. Giants already leading 1-0, and here's the 1-2 pitch to Francisco Melendez. Checks his swing in time. Count evens at 2-2. Uribe at third. Ernest Riles at second. And Mike Aldretti at first base. Francisco Melendez came in for Will Clark. When Clark came up his first 2 times, struck out, and then went straight into the clubhouse. No word on what might be wrong with Will Clark.
One thing about Melendez is, in this situation, he will usually put the ball in play.
Takes high. It's 3-2.
2-2 pitch is the one that Tim Leary wanted to get Melendez out on. He did not want to have to go full. Now Leary is going to have to come in all probability with a fastball, or go with the split finger and hope that Francisco Melendez will swing at a bad pitch. But Melendez, good bat control, doesn't strike out a whole lot.
Runners going. Pitches foul back. It will remain 3 balls and 2 strikes. I'll tell you, the way he is pitching and the way Tim Belcher looked yesterday, I'd rather go with Belcher in Game 2 of the playoffs if Tudor can't make it. Because Belcher just looked terrific yesterday.
Well, he has not pitched as many innings as Tim Leary has, and he just might be a little stronger at this point.
All right, again, the runner's going. Pitch to Melendez. Hits the ball to left field. Danny Heap shades his eyes. Glasses down, makes the catch, threat denied. So Leary works out of the jam here in the 5th. No runs, 1 hit, 3 left. Score at the end of 4 1/2. 1-0 Giants.
Cigarette smuggling, a major crime around the nation. Federal agents seize over 20,000 cartons of smuggled cigarettes in Washington state. Florida reports that it loses $30 million annually from cigarette tax evasion. Richard Demery helps police on a series of cigarette smuggling raids. His body is found riddled with bullets 11 days later. 14 states open a hotline to help crack down on cigarette tax fraud. On Election Day, vote against more crime in California. Vote no on Proposition 99.
Everyone knows certain times are better than others to buy a new car, especially when a dealer needs to clear out just a few of this year's models to make room for next year's. So if you're looking to make a great deal, this is a good time to talk to your Toyota dealer. With over 5,088 Toyotas in stock right now, we think he's in the mood to listen.
Mark and Brian rocking LA. It's another hot one out there. 98, 12 degrees. I know really it's inside. It's hot, hot, hot.
Right now, the only thing that would taste better than a nice cold one is a cold filtered one.
Man, I'd sure go for one of these.
Because if you want a beer whose rich, smooth, dry taste hasn't been changed by depasteurization, we've got it down cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. It's as real as beer gets.
We have a slightly revised forecast. It's cold. Go, go.
The only run in this ball game came in the 2nd when Candy Maldonado from 3rd base scored on Matt Williams' base hit to left field. Giants had the bases loaded and 2 outs, and Francisco Melendez just hit a fly ball. That man looks like he's a little tired.
Can't watch.
There's no more.
It's been a long year.
But a great one for L.A. And a fine one for that man, Don Robinson. After replacing Mike Lacoste in the starting rotation in the month of July, he has really pitched well. He's had only 1 bad start, and that was in Atlanta back in the month of August. So he starts off Jeff Hamilton here with the ball outside, 1-0. Hamilton, Griffin, and Leary here in the 5th. Probably the pitcher spot, I should say, because Leary may come out of there with the playoffs coming up. And here's a fly ball to left field. A rebate will be called off by Kevin Mitchell, 1 out.
Giants travel arranged through the NFL Citibank Visa card. Earn free NFL gear by using your Citibank Visa. Call 1-800-NFL-VISA today.
And that takes us to Alfredo Griffin. 0 for 1 in this ball game. Sent a fly ball to Kevin Mitchell his first time up. He was 1 for 3 yesterday. And 1 for 5 with a double on September 28th. His first extra base hit since doubling on September 7th against Houston. But he has struggled all year long. The batting average right at .201 coming into tonight's game. And he pops this one into center field. Aldretti had him play perfectly. And I'll tell you, they were really in shallow for Alfredo Griffin.
Well, that's the price you have to pay when you have the reputation of not driving the ball. Believe me, I know. Start getting into the batter's box, and it almost looked like there are 7 infielders as opposed to just 4, because they're really playing right on top of you. And if you can, once in a while, if you just look for a pitch and really drive it, a lot of times you can keep that defense from cheating on you, like they do against Alfredo and like they did against yours truly.
And didn't you just hate that when you were a kid? You know, they'd all be backed up for the big guy in front of you. They say, oh, Steve's coming up now. Here's Dwayne. Everybody in. The third baseman and play about 4 feet away from you.
Well, I didn't have that problem when I was younger.
Well, you
when
didn't, but
younger,
I did.
I was pretty much a star. But as I got to the major leagues and they start coming out with that book, the book on how to play every hitter, it became increasingly more obvious that the left fielder was going to play right on the line, the center fielder was going to play left field, and the right fielder was going to play center field. Fine year for Brett Butler. Butler's job for the last couple of days has been to be a cheerleader. Butler wanted to play yesterday and he wanted to play today, but Roger Craig shut him down.
Here's Mike Devereaux pinch hitting for Tim Leary.
And it'll be Ramon Martinez coming in to pitch for the Dodgers. At least he is the one warming up in their bullpen.
Swing and a miss.
And the Padres defeated the Astros 5-1. That's a final.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, and Devereaux checks his swing outside corner, strike 3. Nice pitch by Don Robinson. So Robinson working on a shutout through 5 now. We head to the 6th inning, and the Giants leading 1-0.
Unical's first again with 3 unleaded gasolines. The best gasolines for cleaning fuel injectors. Introducing the new Performance Series. Choose new unleaded plus 87, proven Performance plus 89, or high performance 92. And go with the spirit of 76.
Murph, what's new?
What do you mean, what's new?
She never dreamed she'd win, but there it was, best of show. She had her hardware store to thank for this. 2 years ago, Gwen couldn't tell a pea from a pod. After all, if it hadn't been for that California certified nurseryman, gardening would still be a mystery. Good things happen when a store understands service. This one does.
For the right item at the right price, right now. Choose Orchard.
Hi, dudes.
What's Weird Science all about? How about the ultimate fantasy girl?
Hi.
The ultimate fantasy girl.
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
The ultimate fantasy girl. It's all in the name of science. Weird Science.
Wednesday, October 12th on Channel 2.
We have a new pitcher. That's Ramon Martinez. The Giants take a 1-0 lead into the 6th inning of play. And the last time San Francisco saw Ramon Martinez, it was his major league debut. And he pitched a brilliant 8 innings here at Dodger Stadium and wound up with no decision because in extra innings, 10th inning, Tim Leary came up with the bases loaded and punched a base hit back up the middle off Joe Price to drive in the game-winning run for Los Angeles. But Martinez was so impressive. Throws a fastball, throws a curveball, has a slider, and also a tremendous changeup. And on that occasion, he just overpowered San Francisco. And you can tell he has very, very big hands and very good control.
Yeah, he had a fine outing. The one thing I remember most about Martinez, pretty good fastball, but straight as an arrow. His best pitch is this changeup. And some of the folks from San Francisco. And there you see Kevin Skilling's on camera. One of our Giants Vision People back in San Francisco, he has made the trip. And the one thing we found out doing those Giants Vision games is you cannot put the camera guys on television.
And you know what the worst thing you can do? Put the director on camera. Oh, does he hate that?
Kevin has done a nice job. Does a lot of things for Giants Vision behind the scenes, and those people never get the amount of credit that they should. Kevin Skillings.
Here in the 6th, Kevin Mitchell, Candy Maldonado, and Bob Melvin. Here's the first pitch by Martinez, and he throws it hard. He throws about 93, 94, 95 miles an hour. Matter of fact, Al Cowboy, who clocks both the Dodgers and Giants when the Giants are on the road, clocked him at 95 miles an hour his first time he faced San Francisco, and he has Kevin Mitchell in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes.
Now we got some word from Houston that Hal Lanier and all his coaches except for Yogi Berra are gone.
Wow.
So some vacancies for the Houston Astros. Send your applications to the Astrodome.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Kevin looking for home run number 20 this year. He'd love to get it. Back-to-back seasons with 20 or more home runs. He had 22 last year, 15 with San Francisco, 7 with San Diego, and he takes outside. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I understand that the third base coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, Nick Leyva, is a guy that is a strong contender for that job in Houston. But I think the next couple of days you're going to see the newspapers filled with a number of managers being fired, coaches leaving their particular organizations, and I'm sure some players leaving as well.
Here's a 3-2 pitch, and Mitchell fouls it off. I had read in the paper the other day that Phil Garner's name was mentioned, and perhaps not that he's talked to them, but perhaps that he was so well liked by that club and that organization, and the fact that Phil Garner is such a fine baseball mind. Mitchell sends a fly ball to right field. Davis over quickly and runs it down. 1 out.
And there you see Phil Garner, as you mentioned, very popular in Houston. And Phil, a student of the game, may very well manage sometime. Phil thinking about retiring. I think anybody with a mustache like that has to stay in the game.
He's a gamer. Boy, I remember those great days with the Oakland A's and Phil Garner. And here's the pitch to Candy Maldonado. Fouls it off. Strike 1. Candy scored the game's only run when he walked with 1 out in the 2nd. Went to 3rd on the hit and run. Single by Bob Melvin, and scored on Matt Williams' single to left field. And that's all we've had. 1-0 Giants. Up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. In there, 1-2.
Big breaking ball from Martinez. Actually a hanging breaking ball, stayed up in the strike zone.
And Candy sends a fly ball again to right field, and again Davis having to shade his eyes. Makes the catch. 2 quick outs here in the 6th. And here comes Bob Melvin, who has hit the ball very hard both times. Singled in the 2nd, sharply to left field, and lined hard to the right fielder Mike Davis to end the 4th. Oh, it hit Bob Melvin in the face as it hit the ground and came right back up into his nose.
Roger Craig, Greg Lynn, trainer for the Giants, coming out. See Melvin saying that seems to be all right. That's a strange play. You don't normally see that happen. You get a good shot of it. It first hits the dirt and then hits Sosha, and then it comes up and hits Bob Melvin. somewhere in the face. And it looked like it got him maybe right underneath the right eye.
Looks like he may have a fat lip tomorrow, and
it looks like it could have hit him in the lip.
And he will come out of the game. And it looks like the Giants will either go with Bob Brenly or Kurt Manwaring. And the count will be 1 ball and no strikes.
Now Phil Garner has grabbed a bat. He will pinch hit for Bob Melvin. Season's over for Melvin. Season's been over for a lot of the Giants players. And in most cases far too early. Take another peek at it. See, the ball hits the dirt. Now hits the glove. And it whacks Melvin right in the face.
That reminds me of the play last year at Candlestick Park with Tom Browning of the Cincinnati Reds at home plate, and swinging and fouling one up that hit his nose and opened up. What did he need? 4 stitches right at home plate, and he stayed in the game. Well, Phil Garner will pinch hit for Bob Melvin with 2 outs here in the 6th, and the count 1 ball and no strikes to him. And here's the first pitch by Martinez, and Phil Garner takes high, 2-0. Garner's numbers this year, he has not played that much. He had a back surgery the month of April, and that kept him out much of the year until September.
Well, only 13 at bats for Phil Garner, 2 for 13. He does have an RBI.
And here's a 3-ball, no strike count. Phil takes a strike. It's 3-1. Good guy, though.
And what could be, Phil Garner's last at bat in the major leagues.
Swings and misses. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And I was about to say, I'm sure he does not want to walk if it is indeed his last at bat. That is going to have to be a decision made by Phil Garner.
Popped up. Maybe a play for Franklin Stubbs. He can't make the catch up against the new seats that have been added for the playoffs. So Garner stays alive with the count 3-2. And if he can get on, Matt Williams is on deck. He's 2 for 2. Stubbs has had a rough time in the field. He's actually their best defensive first baseman that has made 9 errors in the team's last 22 games. That's ugly for a first baseman. Here's a pitch to Garner. Misses outside and walks. And that's the 4th walk in the game for L.A. pitchers. 3 by the starter Tim Leary, who left with a 1-0 deficit, and Martinez coming on here in the 6th. Here's Matt Williams. He's hit the ball hard twice, and both times working over Dodger breaking pitches, which is a good sign. He's 2 for 2. Trying to get that average up over 200. He has it now right at 201. Garner not going, and a swing and a miss. No balls, 1 strike.
I know the feeling. I came into Dodger Stadium last series hitting about 183, and I needed a couple of base hits to get over that 200 mark. And I got a chance to hit twice.
Garner's going. Swing and a miss by Williams. Throw to second base, and they will get Phil Garner. Socha with a nice throw. He has now cut down 11 of his last 22 base stealing attempts. And the Giants still leading the Dodgers 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 6th.
You know, when I played football, people said I was one tough player. But I not only outmuscled the other guy, I outsmarted him. I used my head. And a guy like me enjoys drinking Miller Lite, because life's a less filling beer that tastes great. But the best thing about Miller Lite is that it shows a tough guy like me can still use his head.
Well, how's that, Gary?
You hit it right on the head. There's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Competition, one step ahead in the best position.
It's year-end clearance time at your Toyota dealers, and we've got to sell thousands of 88 models to make room for the new 89. This is your last chance to get the 4Runner, pickup, or van of your choice at 88 prices. So don't wait. See your Northern California Toyota dealer today.
Toyota's got the jumping, we're jumping.
Tonight on Married with Children, the cold shoulder leaves Steve frustrated, but Al tries a drastic cure.
My mother-in-law!
Tonight at 8:30 on Channel 2.
San Francisco leading 1-0 over Los Angeles, and fans don't wait until the last minute to become a Giants season ticket holder. Get your name on the Giants 89 season ticket mailing list. Call 415-467-8000 Monday through Friday 9 to 5, and you'll be sent details of the 89 Giants season tickets. Don't wait. We've had a lot of Giants fans come down here, and this is one of the biggest Giants fans. She sees herself right there on the television monitor. This is my little girl, Ryan Patricia. Big Giants fan, aren't you? What do you have to say for yourself? Nothing right now. Well, she's watching and enjoying San Francisco's 1-0 lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Meanwhile, Dwayne Kuiper went to get us a couple of Dodger dogs. So Steve Sachs will lead things off here in the bottom of the sixth. He'll be followed by Danny Heap and then Franklin Stubbs. Sachs 1 for 2 in the ball game, a single in the first inning, and was cut down trying to steal. Pitch by Robinson up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Robinson with 1 strikeout in the game, and that was the last man he faced, Mike Devereaux, to end the 5th. And he has the team lead in that department with 121 now in the season. Kelly Downs second on the team with 118. And this is a man who has not been a starting pitcher much of this season. Ground ball, right side. Ernest Rouse takes care of it, and there's 1 out. That takes us to Danny Heap. Fly ball to center, popped up in the 3rd. He's 0 for 2.
Number 15, Bob Brenley. Now batting 6th.
Well, Dwayne, you promised it.
Number 26.
You promised us some hot dogs, and you didn't bring them back.
They just didn't have any.
It's fouled off out of play.
I
No
will
balls,
say
1
this.
strike.
This is the best looking Physiak I have ever seen behind a microphone. And
well, you got out of that one nicely because my wife's just behind us.
Ryan is definitely a sweetheart. I know that I have mentioned it to you many times, but my son has a date with her already.
And I will chaperone because I've seen him. New right fielder is Charlie Hayes for San Francisco. And the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes to Danny Heap, and he swings and misses, striking out. So Robinson heating up in the late going here. He's working on a 3-hit shutout. And he has struck out 2 of the last 3 Dodgers that he has faced. And that takes us to Franklin Stubbs. He heard Rick Russell last night. A good look at that breaking pitch by Don Robinson.
Danny Heap way in front of that breaking ball.
In there for a strike. No balls, 1 strike.
See what Robbie has done is he has changed his pattern a little bit. Threw a lot more fastballs through the first 5 innings. Now exclusively going with the curveball.
Bob Brenley is the new catcher behind home plate, taking over for Bob Melvin. Foul back to the screen. Count goes 1-2. Up high, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just misses. The count's full to Franklin Stubbs. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Again, he hurt Russell yesterday with a 0-0 ball game. Hit his 8th home run of the year.
Well, Stubbs primarily a fastball hitter. Probably one of the reasons why Donnie Robinson going with the breaking ball as much as he is. He caught a fastball from Rick Russell when he hit that home run yesterday.
And Stubbs again hits the ball hard, but down the line, giving enough room for Charlie Hayes to run down and struggle with and finally make the catch. And at the end of 6 innings, Don Robinson still working on a 3-hit shutout. 1-0 over Los Angeles.
In this day of mergers and acquisitions, when banks have been taken over by entertainment companies,
Next.
when cereal companies have been taken over by shoe companies, Avis Incorporated is happy to remind you that we've been taken over by someone who actually knows something about the rent-a-car business, the Avis corporate employees.
Let's show them how great a rent-a-car company can be.
Have a great trip.
Avis, we're trying harder than ever.
Thank you, everybody. That's it for today.
After a long day of eating hot lead, there's nothing better than drinking a cold Miller Lite. Light sure tastes great, and it really is less filling.
Shoot, there's only one light beer, Miller Lite.
Hey, Joe, give me another. That didn't fill me up at all.
Pete Wilson's real record on the environment is reported in the Congressional Record. Wilson voted against a crackdown on corporations releasing cancer-causing chemicals, against help for victims of toxic waste. He even voted against a bill to remove asbestos from our schools. So who's paying for those ads claiming he's good on the environment? Some of the very people who polluted. Their PACs have given over $145,000 to his campaign. Pete Wilson, a senator for them. Leo McCarthy, a senator for us.
Top of the 7th inning, the Giants holding on to that 1-0 lead. The Dodgers started Tim Leary. Ramon Martinez came in the 6th inning to retire the Giants in order. And here in the 7th, it'll be Alejandro Pena. Pena taking off his jewelry by the request of home plate umpire Doug Harvey. That has become standard procedure for Pena, and you can see the numbers. He is coming into his 60th game, 6-7. His earned run average outstanding at 193, and he has 12 saves. For the Giants, it'll be Matt Williams, Jose Uribe, and then we will see if Donnie Robinson will hit. Robinson cruising along. He has shut the Dodgers down here through 6 innings. And here the call, the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning for the last time in 1988 is Ron Fairley.
Okay, thank you very much. Here we go. 1-0 in favor of the San Francisco Giants, the bottom third that Dwayne just mentioned to you, to be facing the right-hander on the mound. Looking around the infield, let's see if we can see some changes. Now playing at second base is Mike Sharperson. He goes in the ball game and takes over for Steve Sachs. And that is about the only other change that we can see right now. There's the throw down to second base by Socia. And right now, not too pleased with the way things are going.
The Giants fan.
I think he wants another hot dog, and his dad said no. So here we go. 7th inning, and Matt Williams to lead things off. Matt having a good afternoon. He is 2 for 2. He has driven in the Giants' only run. A base hit back in the 2nd inning. And he fouls one away for a strike.
Well, for Matt Williams, both of his base hits came on the breaking ball. And the more Matt plays, the more he will know what all of these pitchers have and what they will likely throw to him. I think off of Pena basically can forget about that breaking ball and look for a good hard fastball.
1 ball, 1 strike. We'll give you the line on Martinez here in just a second. And that has popped up into shallow right field down the line. Back goes Stubbs, and that's a fair ball. And Matt is going to hold at second. A leadoff double here in the 7th inning by Matt Williams.
A participating sponsor, Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one Light.
Now Matt Williams hitting this ball in a perfect spot right down the right field line. Stubbs can't reach it. Sharperson can't reach it. Neither can Mike Davis, who is playing right field. For Matt Williams, 3 for 3.
Well, good afternoon, and that's going to put him over the 300, or not the 300, but the 200 mark for the year. I know he didn't want to hit below that Mendoza line. Here's Jose Uribe. And he fouls one away trying to bunt.
I don't think you'll see too many cases throughout the season where your number 8th place hitter will be sacrificing that man from second and third, from second to third, with the pitcher on deck.
Which makes me think that maybe Roger may use a pinch hitter. Down the left field line. And Danny Heap will take care of that. And here comes Robinson. I say that only as an option. I'm not too sure that they would go to the bench. But Robinson will bat here in the inning. Now that is what you can see. What you can't see right now is that he's got a knee brace on. He's got all kind of, I don't know, he's all taped up and everything underneath. I mean, he's a real warrior.
Well, he's a John Madden type player. He's got his shirt hanging out.
Caveman Robinson. To second base, Sharperson. On to first, and 2 men retired. And on the play, Matt Williams moves over to third. So Riles will have a chance to drive in a run here. Riles came into the ball game batting .299. And today he is 0 for 2.
Now Riles will have to come up with a base hit right here to get over that 300 mark. I'm sure Ernest Riles, like most players, realizing what you have to do to reach certain marks. And nowadays, you don't even have to be that aware of it. All you have to do is look up at the scoreboard, because the scoreboards are huge these days.
Two balls and no strikes. See right there, you can see the scoreboard in right field. And then you swing across, and they have also a message board up in left field. Riles flied out to center field. He's lined out to shortstop. Walked his last time up. And a check swing goes around too far. If he gets a base hit here, his batting average will go to .299.46. 299.46. So if you round off the 6, that makes that a 5, and then you round off the 5, and he'll hit 300. Now that's the way it goes. So he will be batting 300 if you round it off. There's a pitch that's over for a strike, 2 and 2.
He rounded off those numbers before, I can tell.
There isn't a ball player in this world that hasn't done that.
Ooh, you love to round them off.
1-0 Giants. 2 men out here in the inning. Low and inside, a full count, 3 and 2.
I was talking with Steve Physiak. I came in one year in Dodger Stadium. The last 3 games of the season, I hadn't played that much, but I was still hitting around 185, and I needed to go 2 for 2 to hit an even 200. And I got the opportunity to do that, and I just felt a whole lot better, believe me.
There's a tapper toward first base, and Stubbs will go ahead and make the tag on Riles, and that takes care of the Giants in their half of the inning. No runs on a base hit, A man is left. We go to the bottom half of the inning. Giants leading 1-0.
Hang on for the ride of your life.
Thanks for the advice.
For sheer roller coaster thrills, the pick of the crop is Die Hard, says David Anson, Newsweek magazine. Die Hard, rated R.
And also from 20th Century Fox.
I've been thinking about you a lot.
There's something about Tom Hanks
I've never gone out with someone like you.
that no one can resist.
For you. It's a glow-in-the-dark compass ring.
Big, rated PG, now playing separately at theaters everywhere.
Hold on. So, did you check out any other 4x4s before getting another one of these? Sure. There were some a little cheaper. So how come you stuck with Toyota? Well, my old one never let me down. How many things can you say that about? Yeah, but if you could have saved a few bucks, why take chances? What chances? You got any idea how far it is back to town?
Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
The 10 o'clock news on Channel 2. If you're that interested, we're that good.
Giants leading by a score of 1-0. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Well, you don't want to miss your chance to spend a week in Arizona wearing a Giants uniform. It's the Giants Fantasy Camp for fans 30 years of age or older. So join the former Giants such as Willie Mays and Orlando Cepeda in Arizona. That is April 23rd through the 30th. 1989, that is, at the Giants Fantasy Camp. So for a free brochure, call 415-924-8725 or 1-800-542-6005. Tony Perez-Chica now playing second base as Shelby fouls one away, and Riles moving from second base over to shortstop. Shelby tough on Robinson today. He is singled and doubled. Rolls one to first base, one-handed by Melendez, and he says he'll take it. And Shelby is the first out of the inning.
We just showed you a shot of Perez-Chica and Ernest Riles. We don't know what the Giants are going to do in the offseason, but one of the options could be that those two players right there might be the utility infielders for the Giants.
There is that possibility. Here's Mike Davis.
Obviously, Riles we know for sure. And we will have to see what happens to Chris Spire to see if he will be back with the Giants in 1989. One of the things that Al Rosen and Roger Craig will not have to do is look for a left-handed hitting utility infielder because of the fact that Ernest Riles has done such a great job. And there's the fella talking about Chris Spire.
Popped up on the left side of the infield. Who wants it? Matt Williams on the line. Takes it, and Davis is out number 2. Well, you know what? Spire takes such good care of himself. And there's no reason to why you don't reason to think that why he wouldn't be able to play another year or so.
Yeah, you won't find anyone that works any harder, both on the field and in the weight room, than Chris Spire. When you have 6 kids at home and a lot of mouths to feed.
Socia hits one foul down the right field line. And once again, beyond the reach of the ball boy. Beyond his range.
Yeah, he looks at his glove. Not Chris Spire, but the ball boy.
The 0-1 pitch. Swung on a miss, strike 2. Socia is 0 for 2. He's flied out to left, popped up to third. 1 for 5 this series. This year, coming in the ball game, batting over 400 against the Giants. Back up the middle. Riles does a 360, and he throws him out.